moving to Peterborough. If you don't know me, this void-like voice in the background, I am the person behind the camera usually nowadays. I met Joe Countryside a little while ago. I found out that he's an ex-estate agent. It seemed like estate agents have a bit of a black mark to them in the property investor community. Initially, I booked him in to do a normal Q&A, but I think this challenge will be more interesting. All I've told him is I'll meet him at a car park in Peterborough. We're going to do something to do with estate agents in the town. He's not from Peterborough. This is not his patch at all. He has no clue what he's walking into.
The agents, when business is easy, will do what's easy. This seems to be where there is a collection of estate agents. Monday morning is a very bad time to go into agency offices. And this is the key thing that we're really looking for.
Good morning, Countryside. So you ready for your challenge?
Yep. So we're in Peterborough. It's not a city that we know very well. We've been visitors here a couple of times, but we've never really looked at property in Peterborough. Our challenge is to go and find the estate agents and try and suss out who we should be talking to.
Let's go find a cafe.
Yeah,
go.
Coffee.
That
Coffee
way.
first.
As we're going, guys, can you introduce yourselves to our lovely audience?
Good morning, I'm Melinda Fonda.
My name's Joe Countryside. Melinda and I owned and ran our own estate agent in Exeter, in Devon, a company called Underhills. We're no longer directly involved in that. There is somebody else who bought the business from us, so the brand still exists, and we traded for 16 years, property investors for 25 years. So we've got a bit of an idea of what estate agents hear when a property investor comes into the room, and a bit of an idea about who we should, as investors, be talking to.
What's the first thing that's popping to your head when you're thinking new area, new estate agent?
Very first thing, apart from drinking coffee because it's Monday morning. Monday morning is a very bad time to go into agency offices because they will be very busy, catching up on all the weekend stuff, having their morning meetings and planning the week ahead. So first handy hint, don't talk to estate agents on Monday morning at all. Don't talk to them on Friday afternoon when houses are completing and they're waiting for phone calls from solicitors. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the best days to actually talk to agents. But also, you don't want to go in cold. So the very first thing that I would do coming to a new place is have a look online, find out which agents are in town, where they are, and make a bit of a plan about who then we would want to go and talk to and where we would go to find the agents together. Right, so we're set up now with the computer. There's 3 websites where the agents will advertise their wares. There's Rightmove, there's Zoopla, and there's On the Market. And actually, if you do Rightmove and Zoopla, you probably pretty much covered the whole of the market. So you go to there, find an agent section, type in where you are, the town or the area that you're looking at, a list of agents comes back to you. Apparently, we have 72 agents according to Rightmove. In practice, we don't, because a lot of those will be multiples and duplicates, and some of them will be national brands that are everywhere but aren't really anywhere. But the first one on the hit list, Bairstow Eves in Peterborough. We'll just click in there and see what it tells us about them. It's actually a brand which I recognise, but they are in Cowgate. The address is there. And actually, there tends to be a bunch of agents all together in the same place. So what I'll do now is I'm going to pick up the address. We'll go and have a look on Google Maps before we actually walk around the city, find out how far we are from Cowgate and go and have a look there. Then what I'll also do is I will open another web page and we'll go and have a look for Bairstow Eves in Peterborough and see if we can find their office page. Scroll down and have a look. This is a formulaic website, so there's stuff about the company, and this is the key thing that we're really looking for, our team. So before we go into any office, we really want to know who we're going to be talking to. I would say never show up naked. I mean, obviously we're dressed for the weather. Before you go and talk to an agent, know who's in the office. If you can find it out, know what kind of company they are. Find out something about the individuals in the office so you can see where you're going to build rapport, where you can build relationships. We're out and about and we're doing it live, so we can't control the local population, the local wildlife. But yeah, so there's 4 key figures on the team. We have a branch manager, Francesca. We have a sales negotiator, Joseph, fabulous name.
On the letting side, we've got Eleanor. The negotiator is Karis.
It's really interesting though, sales and lettings, although they might sit in the same building, they might sit in the same room, they are actually very different skills. They're both of benefits to investors. If we're looking at rent-to-rent strategies, then it's obviously the rental people that you need to talk to. Or if you have properties and you want to rent them out, or you want to get a sense of what the rental market looks like, then the lettings people are the people you'll need to build relationships with. If your strategies involve any kind of purchase, or if you're doing flips or buy, rent, refurbish, refinance, or even if you're looking at no money down deals but you've got the time and patience to build a relationship with the agent and explain how it can work for them, then it's the salespeople you need to talk to. And finally, in terms of hierarchy, The branch manager is also going to be the sales lead, and it tends to be that sales is a bit more glamorous, a bit more rock and roll because it's bigger numbers, whereas rentals is a little bit more bread and butter and reliable income, but not quite so exciting in terms of its numbers. So it tends to be the sales team that will have the overall lead and kind of position of glory in the building. If we were going in here, the person I would want to be speaking to is Francesca. So the next thing that I would do is I'm actually going to go on LinkedIn and I'm going to go and look for her. Oh, there she is, second on the list already. I love the way that tech knows where we are. We're going to have a quick look at her profile and it will tell us a little bit more about her. If we scroll down here, she's been the branch manager here 7 months only, so she's quite new into the Bairstow Eves business, but she has previously worked in a different agency. That's not one of the names I recognise from Rightmove, so they might not be a Peterborough agent. Before that, she was a kitchen designer, very much been involved in property.
Gone into sales next with Thomas Morris first of all, and then in and out of that firm a couple of times. So
Yeah.
been around property a long time.
Yeah, she's clearly experienced, interesting character, got a good bit about her, will certainly know the process in the industry. Interesting whether she knows the local area because she's not been here for that long. Before we go into the office, we'd need to have a bit of a plan for what we're going to say. So would you be okay if we do some role play later on as to scripts and that kind of stuff?
Sure.
Bairstow Eves is definitely a company we're going to have a look at. Cowgate seems to be where a lot of the agents are based. We'll do some research on the other agents, but that's the part of town that I'll be heading to first. There are 3 different kinds of agents. There are corporates, there are franchises, and there are independents. They all have their merits, and I'll talk a little bit when we get in front of some of the buildings as to what you'll be looking to gain from your relationship with each one. But the key usually will be to look for independent companies that have somewhere between 1 and 5 offices in a locality. In those buildings, the office manager is likely to be either an owner or the only owner, the sole owner. They're going to be a decision maker as well. If you're talking to somebody who works for a big corporation, the owner really is just there to set targets and manage the staff. Whereas if you're talking to somebody in an independent who owns the business, you're talking to the person who, if you do a deal with them, something creative, something that brings money into their company, it's money that pays for their kids' school fees or that pays for the family holiday or pays for their mortgage. As an investor, the small independents are really our goldmine area equivalent in Estate Agents Row. And there's a couple that I found that might be interesting. There's a company called Optimum Sales and Lettings, my scribbled notes, and I found a little bit about the person that owns them. So I found the company, then I went on Company's House and found out that the proprietor is a guy called Christian Robinson. There's a few reviews on Facebook about their company, which highlight Christian and Lisa as being the people who are great at getting people set up. So before we walk into that building, we know we want to talk to Christian. I couldn't find any Meet the Team pictures, but we've still been able to glean the information about his company. And he's the sole director. Anyone's going to make a decision, it will be him, and he's actively involved in the day-to-day business of the company as well. So that would be a company that I'd really want to go and have a chat with if we were going to go and do some live things in Peterborough. Now, if you are in Peterborough, go and talk to Christian, go and build a relationship with him, and we'll teach you how to do that later on. But I'm not going to go and do that for you because I don't want to kind of muddy your pitch, as it were. So now we're having a look at Cowgate. This seems to be where there is a collection of estate agents. So we're going to find out how we get there because I don't really know Peterborough very well. Apparently it's 3 minutes walk. Okay, let's go to Cowgate. The other interesting thing looking at the agents in Peterborough, actually, is that there aren't all that many of them. You have fewer city centre agents than we do in Exeter, despite the fact Peterborough is, I think, 2 or 3 times bigger. That's kind of interesting because it does mean that the agents have probably got quite a lot of business to share between them, and it actually makes it slightly less advantageous for us as investors, because the agents, when business is easy, will do what's easy. And quite often as investors, we're going in with creative strategies or things that they're not quite so familiar with. They tend to want to talk to us when times are a little bit harder. And it seems in Peterborough that the agencies, the volume of agencies hasn't really caught up yet with the size of the city and the size of the market. Property sales, as you may have seen in the press, are down, but rental prices are very high. So in the current market, in broad terms, you would expect the lettings teams to be a little less willing to look at creative things because they're getting properties in and renting them out very quickly at high rents. But your sales teams will probably be feeling the pinch rather from the decline of volumes from the previous 12 months. So the sales agents might be a little bit more willing to investigate creative ways of bringing in business. And again, I'll talk a little bit about that when we look at what we say to agents when we go into their buildings and talk to them. We've done our research and we've told you so much about it that we're going to have to break this up. So we're going to go over to the agents and we'll see you in part 2. If you haven't already done it, then go and click on your downloads, get your free information and get more learning from Progressive so that you know what you're doing.